Everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. So here today we are going to be looking at the taxonomic rank and a taxon. So what is a taxonomic rank? So these are simply levels. So these are levels used in biological classification. Let me reduce the font a bit. So we have said these are levels used in biological classifications to organize. So to organize organisms from the most general to the least, or rather to the least general, or we can say to the most specific. Now the other term that we need to define is what we call a taxon. We are going to bring in some images to further understand this. So a taxon simply refers to a group of organisms. So this is a group of organisms that are classified as a single unit at a particular level. So let me bring in some images to make us understand more. So at a particular level in a taxonomic hierarchy, we are going to understand all these terms. For example, we have the taxonomic ranks, which are the domain, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, until the least specific. You can even see that this is like a triangle. So it is, the more it reduces, meaning to say there are fewer organisms there. The more it reduces, the more specific. So we have the domain, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and the species. So you must know this order. Now this is the taxonomic rank, or the hierarchy, which is the domain hierarchy, kingdom, and all that. Then when we look at the taxon, we are looking at a unit. Like when we say eukarya, we are looking at plants, other things. We have plants, we include other animals, we have amphibians, whatever, you name it. When we call it animalia, that means to say we are now being more specific. So animalia is another taxon which includes animals like the zebra, we have the dolphin, we might have the wolf, we might have the tiger, among other things. We might have the chordata, which are those that have got a backbone. So we have all these. You can even see that the starfish has been removed. So the chordata have got backbones. We have all these animals. We have mammalia, those that are able to produce milk. So we have all these. We might have the carnivora, these that only eat meat. So we have the tiger, we have the wolf, among other things. We have the polar bear and other things. We might have all these. Until we reach the species. So there is a simple way of remembering this, which is just a question. You can ask yourself that, do kings play chess? Do kings play chess on fine? Gods too? So now that one will be the domain. So we have the domain. We have, for kings, we have the kingdom. Play, we have phylum. Chess, we have class. On, we have the order. Fine, we have family. God, we have genus. Stool, we have species. Just to add more light, we have these hierarchies. We have the domain, eukarya. We might have all these organisms, the kingdom Animalia, which are animals, the phylum Chordata, those that have got backbones. We have the class Animalia, which is all these that are able to produce milk. We have the order Carnivora, those that eat. Then we have the family, all dogs and dogs alike. So these are going to be able to form a family. We have a fox here, we have a wolf, we have these ordinary dogs. Then we might look at the genus. In this case, it is the genus Canis. We have the dog, we have the wolf. But when we now have to go to a species, these are able to interbreed to give fertile offsprings. So that's the definition of a species. They are able to interbreed to give viable fertile offsprings. We have discussed this more when we look at the biological species concept, which the video is already available like that. So these are the. So just to discuss on a few, when we look at the domain, we have what we call eukarya. So these are multicellular. We have the domain eukarya, which will involve the animals, plants. We have protists and fungi. When we look at another domain, we have what we call archaea, which I've made a video on that. The domain archaea, which are extremes. So they are very extreme, meaning to say they survive in very harsh conditions, such as very saline environments. Saline simply means to say salty environments. Very saline environments. They are able to survive very high temperatures. So high temperatures, they are able to survive. So these are very extreme organisms. We also have the domain bacteria. Now when we look at these are more like general. As you can see on eukarya, you have the animals, all plants, we have protists and the fungi. Then when you look at the kingdom, under the kingdom, we have these. Now you can split them. You can have the animals as a separate kingdom, you can have the plants as a separate kingdom, you can have the protists as a separate kingdom, we have the fungi as a separate kingdom, we have also the bacteria. So these are separate kingdoms, but when you look at animals, plants, protists and fungi, these belong to the same domain, which is the domain eukarya. Then we have the domain bacteria, and we have one that is not here, the domain archaea, like that. Furthermore, when you look at this example, we have kingdom Animalia, so domain should be eukarya. So domain eukarya, we have kingdom Animalia, phylum Chordata, those that have backbone, Mammalia. Then the order primates, so humans belong to the order primates. Then we have the family Hominidae. Then the genus is Homo. Then for a species, it's a sapien. So sapien is a thinking man. So that's that. So now how do you write the name? So you're going to write, if it is not typed, if it is handwritten, you're going to write Homo with then sapien with a So the species name has to have small letters, and you have to underline if you haven't if it is not typed. So the capital letter, the genus has to start with a capital letter, the species small letter, then you underline it. If it is not if it is typed, you will write in italics. Then the genus, as usual, the name should start with the capital letter. Then even the what's this, even the species has to start with a small letter, and it also has to be in italics. That is if you are typing. So this is our genus name. This, it doesn't change. Genus, we have the species name like that. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you would like, subscribe, and share for more. See you in the next tutorial.